guys, let's do some English today. Your targets for today are: I can demonstrate an understanding of putting others first. I can apply proofreading marks to make improvements and corrections. I can demonstrate the appropriate use of opinion words. I can assess writing progress using a rubric, and I can consult a dictionary to check or correct spelling. Okay, so your lesson focus for today is: a Christian honors God when he puts time and effort into improving what he has written. In the revised step, the writer checks that his opinion is supported by reasons. I want to start today's lesson by reading a Bible verse from Philippians chapter 2, and we're going to read verses 3 through 4. And they say, "Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourselves, not looking to your own interest, but each of you to the interest of others." Now, we are working on opinion pieces. And an opinion is when you state what you think or feel about something that's happening or something that you're reading or something that you're watching on TV, but it's when you give a reason for why you think something or you feel something. But you have to be able to support why you feel that way. So I have read that verse to you, and the questions in my book ask, how should we treat others? And the verse says that we should treat others better than ourselves. And whose needs should we think are the most important? And it says the needs of others. Our attitudes about ourselves and about others come out in our opinions and our choices. God wants you to obey Him in how you think. He wants you to use your opinion in a way that helps others. So I have this little passage. It's called Opinion A, and it's in the attachments that I sent through to your moms, and I'm just going, or dads, and I'm going to read this little passage to you, and then there's a question that asks you about an opinion. You and your brothers hurry outside to play ball. You look over at your neighbor's yard. The Grays have many trees in their yard. You see Ms. Gray raking piles of leaves. Her 2 young children are playing nearby. Ms. Gray has to stop now and then to care for the children. You tell your brothers your opinion. Which opinion shows that you want to serve others? 1, I think we should help Ms. Gray instead of playing. And 2, I'm sure glad we don't have that many trees. Now, which opinion shows that you want to serve others? Now, most of us are going to think, man, I really am glad we don't have those trees in our yard because I would hate to have to do all of that work. But if we have a servant's heart, which of those opinions should we have? And it should be, I think we should help Ms. Gray instead of playing. It's not what we probably would want to do. We wanted to come outside and play ball. But when we see that she has those small children and she's trying to rake that big yard and the kids keep throwing the leaves around, a servant's heart would say, let's go help Miss Gray. All right? We have a second opinion. And for this one, I am going to read John 15:12. And John 15:12 says, my command is this, love each other as I have loved you. And I'm going to read verse 13 as well. It says, greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for his friends. My command is this, love each other as I have loved you. And we're just coming out of the Easter season, and we know that Jesus laid down his life for us and took on our sins so that we could have that hope of a home in heaven with God one day. A Christian's opinions can be said in a way that shows God's love. An opinion can be kind, encouraging, or helpful. This is story opinion B, and I'm going to read it. Your cousins Elijah and Emily are spending the weekend with your family. Your family prays that God will help each of you show His love to them. Your dad lets your cousins choose the game to play on Saturday night. Elijah wins the game he picked. You tell your opinion. Which opinion shows love to Elijah? Not which one do we think, or which one might be on the inside of us, but which would show that love that Jesus showed us. One, I think I should pick the next game. You already picked one. Or two, Elijah, I think you were really good at that game. Maybe we can play it again sometime. Which one shows love to Elijah? I'm going to pick the next game. You already picked one, or you must be really good at this game. Maybe we can play it again sometime. And I think it should be number two. I think you're really good at that game. Maybe we can play it again sometime. Showing love to others. And those are opinion statements. How you feel and why you feel that way. Now, today, we're going to take our drafts that we wrote yesterday, and I'm going to do 2 steps. Now, you can do 1 step today and 1 step tomorrow, or you can combine it all into one day. It's up to you. But today, the first part of our lesson is revising. When we revise, we look for ways to improve your writing. We're going to add exact verbs to make your writing more interesting and add adjectives to expand your sentences. And those are things that we've worked on in the classroom. Now, I have added in your attachments, and you don't need both of them, just one of them, this checklist for revising. And when you revise, these are the things you need to make sure you do. Indent the first line. That means scoot it over. My first sentence includes the book title and author. And I have the book title and author. I underline the book title. My topic sentence tells my opinion. In my opinion, this story shows how people care about each other. I have written 2 or 3 reasons to support my opinion, and I wrote 2. First, Grandpa lets her visit. He teaches her many things. My ending sentence tells my opinion again. I believe this story shows how families care about each other. Your sentences should be complete thoughts. You should use opinion words. In my opinion, I believe. They were listed on page 209, I believe. And I have used transition words first, for example. Okay, so those are some revision steps that you need to do. But I'm also going to go back and see if I can add some exact verbs or some adjectives to make my writing more interesting. So my opening sentence gives the book title and the author. I read Georgia Music by Helen V. Griffith. Here's my opinion. In my opinion, this story shows how people care about each other. And Miss Millette's okay with that one. First, Grandpa lets her visit, and I'm going to put here that he lets her visit for the summer because she stayed the whole summer. Remember, if we want to insert, we use the little up arrow. That means we're going to insert something. If we left off a punctuation mark, we need to circle where we left it off. If we need a capital, we need to underline 3 times. Okay? And if we want to leave something out, we do the scratch out. That means we're going to omit it or change it. All right, so here we go. He teaches her many things. For example, he taught her how to chop weeds. Well, I'm going to put that he taught her how to chop weeds in the garden because that's where they did the work with the hoe. And they listened to the insects and birds. Well, I'm going to add some adjectives here. They listen to the buzzing insects and the chirping birds when they rested under the tree. I believe this story shows how families care about each other. And those are the corrections that I believe I want to make, the revisions that I want to make. And you'll need to do the same for yours. There's an example on page 313 for you to look at that will help you if you've forgotten any of what we just went over, and I don't think you have. Now, the second thing that I'm going to do today is proofread. And when we proofread, you also have a chart for proofreading. Looks like this. We're going to look for capital letters at the beginning of a sentence with proper nouns and in the book title. We're going to check punctuation at the end of each sentence, periods for initials, and commas after transition words. And we're going to check for spelling errors. So let's go back through and look to see if Ms. Millette needs to add capital letters, punctuation, or spelling. I read Georgia Music, capitalized the book title, I underlined it, by Helen V. Griffith, and I see an error right here. Ms. Millette didn't put the period after the initial. In my opinion, I have the comma after the transition and the opinion words. This story shows how people care about each other. That is a comma, and it should be a period. First, Grandpa. Well, first is a transition word, so guess what? I need a comma. First, Grandpa lets her visit for the summer, and that'll be a period. He. Well, I have a period, and after a period, I need a capital. He teaches her many things. For example, another transition word, I have the comma. He taught her how to chop weeds in the garden and listen to the buzzing insects and chirping birds when they rested under the tree. Doesn't that sound awfully long? He taught her how to chop weeds in the garden and they listened to the buzzing insects and chirping birds when they rested under the tree. Well, I see a conjunction here. So I'm going to check to see if I have a subject and verb. Taught is a verb, and he is a subject. So he taught her how to chop weeds is a complete sentence, so I need to put a comma before my conjunction. So now I have a compound sentence. I have a complete sentence, comma, conjunction, and a second complete sentence. We've worked on that a little bit. We haven't worked on that a lot. But if you use and, please, or but, or so, please get Mom to check with you to make sure that you do or do not need a comma. And they listened to the buzzing insects and chirping birds when they rested under the tree. The reason that I don't need a comma here is because I can't say chirping birds when they rested under the tree because I don't have a subject. So that would not be a complete sentence. This is joining the two activities that they did like you did in your book when you had a single subject and two activities. John hit the ball and ran the bases. Okay? I believe this story shows how families care about each other. So those are the corrections that I need to do. I went through and I revised by adding, I didn't change any of my verbs, but I did add some adjectives. I added some phrases. And then I went back and I checked for capitalization. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I did. I caught it. Punctuation, and I didn't have any spelling errors. Now, if you do this part today and you feel so inclined, this is another little proofreading guide that you can use. If you feel so inclined, you can go ahead and write your final copy today I have sent through the grading rubric already, so you'll know what to look for. It's on next week's email that I just sent out to your parents. But it will tell you the expectations for what needs to happen in your writing. Okay? And I look forward to finding out what your favorite book is. And I think that that might be a great Zoom activity for next week. If you have this written, we can have a Zoom and each of you can share your opinion paragraph about your favorite book. I think that's a wonderful plan, and I look forward to hearing about all the different books that you guys enjoy reading. All right? So, this shouldn't take you that long. Get it done. Do your best work. Use some exciting adjectives.